What's going on, guys? Today we're going to be editing our Instagram pictures just like I talked about in my last video. If you haven't seen that, please go to the channel and check out my last one where I talk about how to use Instagram for your business, in particular barbering, which is the industry I'm in. So here we're going to be using two specific apps, Facetune and Snapseed. They're the only apps you're going to need. They're free and it's all done on your phone. I'm going to have my phone on the screen so we can all see what I'm doing. We're going to open up Snapseed. I've loaded up my picture already, and this is going to bring us to our first part. So first part of editing our pictures is the simple edit. A simple edit is just enhancing minor things, not changing anything on the haircut. It's more just to enhance your pictures so that you can post something nice. So here we're going to, I already selected, you could just go to your open tab, select open, select your image, and we have a few tools that we're going to use here in the bottom. Obviously you have a crop tool up in the top right. If you don't want anything to show above, if you want to make it like a perfect post, you can crop it how you want. Press the check mark. So then the main tools you're going to use when you're editing the pictures in Snapseed is going to be details. If you want to bring out a little bit, you just slide left to right to affect them. So sometimes you want to bring out a little bit, sometimes you want to just like drop it down. I do very minor, like within +10. So we're doing 8 here. Go back to our tools. Healing is specifically for, like you see the hair that's on his face that was left off. You just tap, it all goes away. Healing can also be used for any little birthmarks or anything you want to just get rid of by the fade, just to not distract from the haircut. Healing is really important for if you're taking a picture after a haircut. You don't really have too much time to spend getting a perfect angle and making everything all perfect. So sometimes there is hair left on the face and you want to just get rid of that. So that's going to be the heal tool. Now for the next one, we're going to be doing the selective. Selective is going to be your most important tool to enhance the fade without actually changing anything. So it's a little dot that gets put down. When you click there, it's a brightness, as you can see up top here. When you slide, it increases or decreases the brightness. But what's cool is you can actually select, which is why it's called the selective tool. You can select what area it occupies. So whatever's red is what's going to actually be changed by that. Since it's a low fade, we're really just going to change like what's on the temple there. So as you can see, you can go crazy with it. You don't want to do any of that. You want very minor adjustments, just like keep it under 25 there, and then you're going to do a plus sign, add another one in there, and go right back to plus 25 because that's the same thing we did on the first one, so we want to keep it all cohesive. So now we will go to the vignette. You can go either super dark, keep it natural. I usually like to do like around a -25, just very slight, just to make sure, because what we're doing with the picture is we're getting rid of everything looking the same. You want to get contrast, and contrast specifically on the haircut, which is why we use the selective tool to highlight the fade and darken everything else around it just slightly. As you can see, there's tons of tools that you can use in here. You don't need to use all of these. I mean, I'm sure you can mess around with a bunch of these things and figure out how to use them better, but in my case, a simple edit that literally took probably 2-3 minutes, and you have a picture that's worth going onto Instagram from there. So now from here, you would export it, you would save it, and what's cool here is you can either modify the picture and it'll just update the picture that you have already, or you can select a totally new picture to be made so you still have the original. Okay, so now we're going to open up Facetune. So we're going to go to our picture that we have to edit here. So in this case, we're going to be using Facetune to get way more in detail, make this fade look as perfect as we can. We're going for more of an editorial style picture, so we want to make sure it's like almost unrealistically perfect, which is totally fine. And you can do the order of Snapseed and Facetune either way. It's just easier to show Snapseed first, but Facetune is the most important one if you want to make sure your picture is absolutely perfect. So now in this case of this client, his hair is a little thin around the temple. We want to make sure we fill that in and get the contrast that the fade needs to make it pop out and look perfect. So the only tool that we're going to use on Facetune is actually the paint tool. So we're going to use the picker as our best friend to figure out the exact shade and color we need. So we're going to fade it. We're going to zoom in here on the fade. As you can see up top here and around this area, there's like light spots right here, down here, down here. We want to make sure we get all of those darkened up so that it's all one cohesive, perfect blend. So we're going to start by selecting the darkest part underneath the hole you want to fill. So in this case we have, it's always better to try lighter because you can always go darker afterwards over top. It's hard to erase without getting rid of all your work, but you do have the undo buttons down here in the left corner and redo buttons as well. So we're going to select this color here, use the classic brush. The classic brush is the best one. And you just want to do light little taps just to go over it. If that's not getting it done enough, go back to the picker, pick a darker color. It'll always highlight what you've done before. So there, we've darkened it up a little bit. Slowly keep going in here. As you can see, it's sort of turning into too much of a gray color. Go back to the picker. It'll show you what you're doing here. This is the opacity meter right here, so this will show you what it looks like before and after. And if you went a little heavy, you could always drop that down, but in this case we can undo whatever we need here. You can also erase and just start over if you want. So like I said, once again, choose a color, do some light work here. The key to this is to change up the colors, change up everything, keep it looking as natural as we can. Obviously that looks like a dark spot now, this right here in the middle. So we're gonna go picker, choose one of these lighter colors, just lighten that up a little bit. Might need to go even lighter here, just to make sure that spot doesn't look dark anymore or overly dark. Now keep in mind, when you get too zoomed in, it's very easy to get lost in the details. You want to keep it pretty zoomed out unless you're trying to specifically get rid of one little spot. Now we're gonna go to, let's try out something like this. It's a big trial and error process to get everything to look nice, but it doesn't take too long to really understand how this all works. It's a pretty safe tool to use, this classic brush here. So as we can see, the whole top part is pretty dark enough, I would say. You could probably go a little bit darker up top here just to make sure everything's even. Let's just try one more shade here. And this is gonna be pretty dark right here, but that's okay. If we don't like what we did up top here, we could just lighten that up there with the eraser. So now we see we have the light spot at the bottom and we have the darkness that we put in at the top. We want to make sure the middle of the fade is nice and light as well. So we're going to go back to picker. We're going to choose like a more middle kind of color. Brush that in a little bit. Choose a lighter one. So as we see, this whole temple area is pretty damn good. You don't need to go crazy. And then all we want to do here is to the picker one more time. Let's pick a little bit lighter of a color. Try that again. Just two quick little swipes, a little tap there. And now with the eraser, you can essentially line him up just like that. Essentially what this app is doing is the hair enhancements, what you would do on a haircut with a airbrush. This is essentially a hair enhancement just for the photo. So now we have to focus on the back here. Sometimes the angle of how you took the picture doesn't really work out too well. So like I said, we have limited amount of time to be taking pictures and to be doing all this stuff. So we want to just perfect what we have. And this back end is just a tiny bit. Might be able to even just go a little bit lighter on there. That's all good. Get a little bit darker in here to go towards something like this. Boom. That's pretty perfect where it's at. Pick one more, lighten this up a little bit, pick one more, and lighten that bottom end up. So as of right now, we can look at our haircut before and after. As you can see, the difference is astronomically different, and no one can tell you this isn't a better result. This isn't more pleasing to look at, and that's why we take this type of effort. Little detail stuff, very minor little detail stuff. You can always see what it looks like before and after before you do anything crazy to it. But there you have a perfect fade. Obviously, everybody's eye is going to be different. The things you see might be different from what I see. In my opinion, I'm extremely happy with how the result is. So now we're going to press the check mark, click save, and it's saved to our device. And from there, you can post it. Essentially, you could put in as much time as you want to making everything absolutely perfect. But the result that we have right now is pretty much all you need to do, and it probably took us 10 minutes to do all of this. Obviously, me explaining this takes a little bit longer, but once you get used to the process, it's super simple. And then from there, you can post on Instagram, you could do whatever you'd like. All in all, the editing of haircuts is really important to making a perfect picture. So something you could post up on Instagram, and not only just for Instagram, more for ads, marketing yourself to get more people to click on your profile. There's no doubt in my mind that a picture like this is gonna get more interactions than a raw regular picture that you just took with your phone and then instantly posted it to Instagram. So if you get some value out of this video, please give it a thumbs up. It helps the channel a lot. It's been growing a lot, but we need every like we can get. I really appreciate it. If you have any other questions or any other ideas for videos, just let me know in the comments, and thanks for watching.